This is CBN NewsWatch.
It is Thursday, October 15th. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, dueling town halls as President Donald Trump and Democratic challenger Joe Biden each appear on network television tonight at the same time. And a potential problem arises for Biden involving his son and a Ukrainian energy company. Voter interest in the election running high, with a huge number of Americans already turning out to vote, but at least one state is already hitting a glitch. Could America be headed for a totalitarian state? That's the question some are asking, and it may seem unthinkable, but one Christian author warns it could happen here. And President Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Amy Coney Barrett, after 2 days of tough questions in the Senate, now apparently on her way to confirmation. We've got those stories and much more ahead in this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to begin this half hour with President Donald Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden taking part in dueling town halls on broadcast networks tonight. NBC announcing yesterday President Trump will be on from Miami. The debate will air at the same time as a previously scheduled Biden town hall on ABC from Philadelphia. President Trump was back on the campaign trail in Iowa yesterday, where polls show a very tight race in a state the president won easily in 2016. Biden mostly laid low Wednesday, but he stepped up his campaign travel over the past week with visits to key swing states. One of the issues that could well come up in this evening's town hall, a new report that Joe Biden's son Hunter set up a meeting between his dad when he was vice president and an executive from the Ukrainian energy company Burisma. Dale Hurd is on the story.
A bombshell story that could have a major impact on the presidential race is being suppressed by the mainstream media. The New York Post Wednesday produced emails showing Joe Biden's son Hunter introduced the then Vice President Biden to a Ukrainian energy executive. An April 2015 email reads in part, "Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to D.C. and giving me an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together." Vice President Biden and Hunter have stated repeatedly that he had no involvement in his son's foreign business dealings and never even discussed them.
I want to get to the heart of it. Did you and your father ever discuss Ukraine?
No. As I said, the only time was after a news account, and it wasn't a discussion in any way. There's no but to this. No, we never did.
Your dad said, "I hope you know what you're doing."
I hope you know what you're doing.
I do.
And I said, I do. And that was literally the end of our discussion.
Joe Biden has been blatantly lying about his involvement in his son's corrupt business dealing. And this is a big smoking gun.
The Biden campaign denies the allegation. But when New York Post editor Sohrab Ahmari tried to post the story on Twitter, his tweet was blocked. He called it a big tech information coup. This is digital civil war. Facebook also suppressed the story by limiting its distribution. Twitter's CEO Jack Dorsey later admitted Twitter's handling of the story was not great. Senator Josh Hawley tweeted that Dorsey's statement is a joke. He wants the CEOs of Facebook and Twitter to appear before a Senate subcommittee. Senator Ron Johnson called the media boycott of the story astounding and told Hannity this is only the tip of the iceberg of the corruption in the Biden family.
What Hunter Biden had going for him was his last name, and he traded that last name, as did other members of the Biden family, to make millions of dollars.
A Senate committee is now trying to verify the contents of the computer hard drive that contained those emails and is believed to belong to Hunter Biden. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Interest in this year's presidential election is extremely high, with nearly 14 million people already voting, although not always without problems. When Americans show up to cast their ballots, they certainly do not want to be turned away, but that actually happened in Virginia this week. Mark Martin is following this story.
From Texas to Georgia to Ohio, exercising a little patience is needed to exercise the right to vote early. It's been the same way in Virginia, where in-person early voting came to a screeching halt Tuesday. Workers accidentally cut a fiber optic cable, shutting down the entire state's online voter registration system for several hours.
I thought it was just affecting voter registration. I soon found out it was affecting more, but our biggest concern was voter registration. It's the voter registration deadline today. Also, we've been averaging about 1,000 voters a day here in Virginia Beach.
That was kind of disappointing, because we did come down here prepared to vote, and we had planned this out. to make this an event, to come and vote today, and we weren't able to.
We thought we'd come knock this out today a little early before Election Day and, try to get ahead of the big crowds possibly, and then just to find out that the computers are down. It's a little frustrating, but, those things happen.
We also wanted to know if this incident raises a concern about the safety and accuracy of this year's election. The voters we talked to weighed in on that as well.
Things like this just make you more skeptical, but I'm still going to go out, still going to vote, because it's the only way you can make the change that you want in this country.
Yeah, I've been concerned about this whole thing, You hear stuff where people are trying to stop you from voting and everything, so it's concerning.
Mark Martin, CBN News, Virginia Beach.
In Washington, the Senate Judiciary Committee is set to take the first steps toward approving Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett after 2 long days of Senate testimony, with Democrats pressing her in a wide variety of positions. But even they acknowledge her confirmation is inevitable, and her Senate supporters suggest her opponents are out of ammunition. Paul Strand brings us the story now from Washington.
She's going to the court. Seat at the table is waiting on you.
Even so, Judge Barrett soldiered on, describing the battering confirmation process as excruciating.
Other people could do this job, but the same difficulty will be present for everyone. And so for me to say, I'm not willing to undertake it, even though I think this is something important, would be, a little cowardly. And, I wouldn't be answering a call to serve my country in the way that I was asked.
And Democrats still gave it their best shot, suggesting Barrett would be willing to overthrow established laws like legalized abortion.
When it comes to Roe v. Wade, the big question is whether Judge Barrett respects precedent or not.
She says she respects super precedents. Cases so settled, no one challenges them anymore. That's not the case with Roe.
There's active litigation regarding Roe, is that correct?
That is correct.
Democrats, though, were accusing Barrett of plotting to make rulings that would also do away with Obamacare and gay marriage.
People who want to simply marry or have a relationship with the person they love could find it criminalized.
Well, Senator, to suggest that that's the kind of America I want to create isn't based in any facts in my record.
Senator Ted Cruz pointed to what he thought was proof the Democrats had given up.
There are only 2 Democratic senators in the room. If you look at the dais, there's chair after chair after chair that is empty.
The Judiciary Chairman predicts a milestone confirmation.
This hearing, to me, is an opportunity to not punch through a glass ceiling, but a reinforced concrete barrier around conservative women. You're going to shatter that barrier. I have never been more proud of a nominee than I am of you.
Concerned Women for America's Penny Nance says Barrett is the role model for young conservative women.
And what's so beautiful about that is she's refused to buy into the old stereotype that you have to choose somehow between having a loving family, having even a large family, and having a career. She's doing both beautifully.
Next will be witnesses and a proposal to hold a confirmation vote. Paul Strand, CBN News, Capitol Hill.
And you can see our live coverage of today's hearings in their entirety beginning at 9 a.m. And you can see it across all CBN News platforms. Be sure to download the CBN News app so that you can take it with you wherever you go. Coming up, could the United States be heading for an unusual form of dictatorship? It sounds almost impossible to believe, but one author says the signs are starting to show up. We're going to hear his warning for America when we come back. Stay with us.
Yeah, buddy.
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope. all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain, get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation, tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
Violence in our streets and a shifting culture. Is America heading down the road to totalitarianism? It seems unthinkable, but on this week's episode of The Global Lane, author Rod Dreher contends the United States is well on its way to becoming what's known as a soft totalitarian state.
There's a difference between soft totalitarianism and hard totalitarianism. The hard version is what we all think of as totalitarianism. It's George Orwell's 1984. It's the Soviet Union. It's the infliction of pain and terror on people to get them to conform. I don't think that's what we're facing. I don't think that's what's happening here. Rather, ours is going to be a more soft version where they use the infliction of economic pain and marginalization and shaming to force Christians out of the public square and to compel us to conform with left-wing ideology. And the fact that it's soft does not mean it is any less totalitarian.
I know you quote Hannah Arendt, who after World War II published the book, The Origins of Totalitarianism. Now, at that time, she said loneliness is an everyday experience, not just for the elderly. So how has social media made us, particularly young people, lonely? And how is that fueling this rise of soft totalitarianism?
Yeah, Hannah Arendt, in trying to understand how Germany gave itself over to Nazi totalitarianism and Russia to Bolshevik totalitarianism, said that the sense of being lonely and socially alienated was the major precursor to totalitarianism. What social media has done is it has served as a sort of substitute for person-to-person contact. And it has made young people have extraordinary levels of depression, of alienation. And it has made them desperate for something to solve their problem of alienation and their anxiety. I think that this is opening them up to the acceptance of a false idol that will be totalitarian, that will tell them, we can take care of all your problems. We can fix it if you will only say yes to us. That's what happened in Russia, and that's what happened in Germany, and that's what's coming here.
Boy, that is scary now. I know when we think of totalitarianism, and let's say the Russian Revolution, which was really a communist one, but led to totalitarianism, we think of a violent overthrow, the murder of the Tsar and his family, of course, the murderous violence ordered by Joseph Stalin. Now, we're seeing riots, violent protests in some American cities, but nothing like that. So how likely is it could become that, evolve into that type of violence here?
Well, it could happen. In fact, some of the people I talked to for this book, immigrants to the U.S. from communist countries, they say that they believe it will ultimately turn hard here because that's what the left will need to do. I think we have a long way to go before that. I think that rather we're going to see something develop in this country like the Chinese have today, the social credit system, where they monitor everything Chinese citizens do. They get all the data from their computers, from the internet and so forth, and they assign them a rating. The more socially positive you are from a communist point of view, the higher your rating, the more your privileges. The lower your social credit rating is, like if you go to church, you'll get a lower rating. The more imprisoned you are in your home, and you can't send your kids to college, and so on and so forth. That's the sort of thing that I believe is coming here, that the left is going to be doing to us, and especially to Christians who are now seen as the chief obstacle to this world of progress and tolerance and anti-racism. And they already have the data. Most Americans don't realize this, but big corporations get tons and tons of data that we hand over to them ourselves through our use of computers, the Alexa, and smartphones. All it's going to take is a little bit more political will, and we're sunk.
And, of course, we're seeing in this country, churches have been shut down. In Portland, we saw at least one Bible burned, churches attacked, vandalized, or burned over the summer, mostly Catholic ones, I might add. Why are Christians and their churches being targeted?
Because, again, we are seeing conservative Christians, not the progressive Christians who have already assimilated to the new order. Conservative Christians and their churches and institutions are seen as an obstacle to progress. If you stand against LGBT rights, for example, if you stand against abortion rights, if you stand against critical race theory, you are a problem. Now, I should say that all Christians ought to be against racism. We are. But critical race theory is something very different. It draws a line between good and evil, between the races, and alienates the races and turns us against each other when we ought to be standing together. All these things are going to come down hard on Christian churches who may not survive if they don't have deep confidence in their mission, deep confidence in their Christian identity rooted in Scripture, and if they don't have the ability to suffer and to suffer well. This is the main lesson I got from talking to Christians in the former Soviet Union and Soviet bloc who came through hard totalitarianism. They want American Christians to know, be ready to suffer.
So the question is, can Christians turn this situation around? You can hear more from Rod Dreher on the Global Lane this evening at 9:30 Eastern, and you can find that on the CBN News Channel. Still ahead, 3 Christian colleges making their education more affordable with serious cuts in their tuition. We're going to hear why and what impact it will have right after this.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphan's Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphan's Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Some Christian colleges are making education more affordable by cutting tuition costs. Heather Sells spoke with the president of one of these schools about their action and the impact.
3 Christian colleges are making historic decisions to deeply cut tuition costs for next year. Seattle Pacific is making a 25% cut for the fall of 2021. Houghton College in upstate New York is cutting its tuition by 53%. And Gordon College in Wenham, Massachusetts, just announced that it will cut its tuition by 1/3 next year. And joining us now with more is Dr. Michael Lindsay, the president of Gordon College. Thanks so much for joining us, Dr. Lindsay.
Thanks for having me on.
So rising college tuition has been a concern in this country for a long time. Why is Gordon deciding now to make such a dramatic cut?
Well, obviously, the COVID-19 pandemic has brought issues of affordability to the forefront of everybody's mind. We became convinced this is the right thing to do and the right time to do it. We've been working on it for about 10 years now, and we're just gratified that we're able to make this reduction to pass along affordability to more students and more families.
So break it down. How will this affect students? Many, of course, are already receiving generous scholarships. So what kind of reduction can they hope to see?
We're going to be reducing the total sticker price of the college by 1/3. So it's going to be making Gordon much more affordable. One of the things that we've realized is that over the last 25, 30 years, there's been a real divide between the college's sticker price, that is what's listed as the total cost to attend the institution, and the net price, that is what families actually pay after you include financial aid and scholarships. We wanted to try and bring greater transparency by bringing those two things together. So our reduction is going to make it possible for us to save, every single student's going to save $1,000 coming to Gordon, is a current student. And if you compare our new price compared to what the sticker price would be if we continue with the annual 3% increases, which are the industry standard, for incoming students, it could make a difference of $59,000 in the cost of their Gordon education. We're really committed to making it more affordable and excited to be able to do it in this season.
Any particular demographic that you think this might really help in terms of just encouraging them to go to school?
Well, we know that we've got to keep the cost of a college education within reach of middle-class families. In 1970, the cost to attend Gordon, for example, was about 1/3 of the median annual family income. And what we wanted to do is set that as a benchmark while we did this price reset. And we're very proud of the fact that in 2020, with this reset, we're going to be able to create this game change for our students and their families so that we can get it back to being 1/3 of the 2019 median family income. It's going to make a huge difference for lots of families, making Gordon much more affordable.
Well, I can't imagine anyone opposing this decision. You do have 2 other Christian colleges making similar decisions. Do you see tuition cuts as perhaps a growing trend among Christian colleges?
I think all of our institutions are trying to make sure that we remain as affordable and engaged as possible with our constituencies. Gordon has been going down this pathway actually for 10 years. We had an amazing $75 million gift that came to us last year. We've been committed to affordability and have had an additional $50 million of fundraising as part of a Faith Rising campaign for the college. We've also been working very hard to reduce expenses and to be able to help make Gordon more affordable to more people. This is not the kind of thing that you can decide on a Monday and announce on a Thursday. We've been working down this pathway for 10 years. My hunch is that other institutions are going to be working on this process. It'll take several years for them to get there, but we hope we're part of a larger trend that's going to make higher education more affordable for more Christian families in the days ahead.
That's fantastic. I also wanted to ask you about COVID. Of course, your students are on campus right now. You've, of course, put safety protocols in place. How is it working for you at this point, and how are you avoiding an outbreak on campus?
We've been very blessed. We have about 90% of our students are here on campus. We're about halfway through the fall semester. We had a handful of cases early on in the semester, but we've used a variety of protocols to try and contain that. And we're really happy that for the last 4 to 5 weeks, we've had 0 cases, even after we've tested the entire student body multiple times. I think the real key thing is that in a Christian college environment, students are used to trying to be committed to the good of the community. And so I think it's one of the reasons why Christian colleges are leading the way. We found that there's a way to be open and to be safe, and we're committed to making Gordon as safe as possible. Really grateful the Lord has been able to help us through the season.
Oh, absolutely. That is great. All right. Well, Dr. Michael Lindsay, Gordon College, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Coming up, Christian artist Lauren Daigle gives a heartfelt speech after winning a major music award last night. You're going to hear what she had to say when we come back.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5 Wednesday night at 9:30.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
Check out the CBN News Daily Rundown podcast each weekday with me, Caitlin Burke. Click on the show tab at cbnnews.com where you can listen and subscribe.
And welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. Christian singer Lauren Daigle gave a heartfelt acceptance speech as she received the Top Christian Artist of the 2020 Billboard Music Awards last night.
There is amazing hope found in God, and He has an incredible way to take one story and turn it completely different. I was just a girl from Louisiana, and now I'm standing here in Los Angeles. And for all of those watching that need hope tonight, He has it. He has the hope, especially for times like these.
He is the hope indeed, a great message indeed for these times and for all time, in fact. Well, it is time now for your Thursday Thankful. I hope you will join me in this prayer of gratitude. God, you are good, and I am grateful you are good, even when life doesn't feel good or look good. And not only are you good, but you are working all things out for my good. In the middle of it all and for it all, I remain grateful. It is the posture that you are calling me to take, and I happily accept it, knowing that you are good in all situations and you're working it out for my good, and more importantly, for your glory. Well, that is going to do it for this edition of CBN News. I just want to remind you, you can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel. You can find them there at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We would love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. Feel free to email us. The address is right there at the bottom of your screen, newswatch@cbn.com. And, of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, on Twitter, as well as Instagram. We certainly look forward to hearing from you, and thank you so much for your time. I encourage you to make this a thankful Thursday. We'll see you right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye and God bless.